Welcome back, Godev. I want to thank Mark Cuban for stopping by today. All sorts of interesting stuff. We talked some economy, but mostly the virus, the NBA. What does it mean going forward? And he's a pretty aspirational guy, some political thoughts. I think Mark Cuban is one of those guys. I'm not anti-businessman running for president because, I don't necessarily always love the current one. But guys like Cuban, I think, are thoughtful, out-of-the-box, contrarian thinkers, and they can't be purchased. I like that. Joy Taylor with the news.
No.
Turn on the news.
This is the Herdline News, sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need.
So the Browns brought in veteran Case Keenum to back up Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
And former Cleveland quarterback Jake Delhomme says that it's very possible that Keenum could see the field at some point this season.
They need better quarterback play in Cleveland. Listen, there's just no other way of saying it. They need better quarterback play. That's going to be the biggest key there. They have a lot of talent on that football team. Certainly, we know the two wideouts, and then signing Cooper to go with Njoku. So they've got some weapons. They have a stable of running backs. Don't be surprised if you see Case Keenum sometime November if Baker struggles. I don't think they'll be afraid in the least bit to put in Case. I mean, he wasn't drafted by this regime. Baker wasn't drafted by this regime that has taken over.
By the way, when Baker came out, who was my comp? Case Keenum. That's who he is.
That's true.
This is who he is. He is Case, less mature, better arm. Just remember this. They'll give Baker the year. But Kevin Stefanski won 13 games with Case Keenum in Minnesota. Case Keenum to Kevin Stefanski is a franchise quarterback. They went 13-3 with his offense in Case. He's going to they'll give Baker September. What if Baker's nonsense? What if he calls out somebody like the medical staff again or something? I think this staff would get out of that. This team has way too much talent, Joy. Way too much talent to go 1-3 or 1-4.
I don't know. I mean, I agree with everything that you're saying, but I do think that they give Baker the year, like the whole year, unless he doesn't win a game.
Oh, he's going to win games.
10, which is not going to happen. I don't see how you don't just give him the year. You know what Case Keenum is, right? We know what Case Keenum is. Baker Mayfield was the number 1 overall pick. Yeah. So whether this is his regime or not, I can't even remember his regime now, honestly. He's been through so many coaches and situations in his career already. So I think you give him the whole year. If nothing comes of it, if it's not working, then you move on. But to move to Case Keenum halfway through the season, I mean, look at the division. You know you're not going to win the division. Well, right? You're going into the season knowing that is not a possibility.
What if they're 3-3? Baker loses the next 2 games. They fall 4 games behind, and he says something that incites some angst among the coaching staff. I think they look at Case Keenum and go, "Let's prove it. Let's prove a point here." Case went 13-3 the last time I coached him. Stefanski likes Case Keenum. That's why I brought him in. He had him in Minnesota.
No, of course. I just think when you make a move like that, you can't reverse it. Once you take the team away from Baker, it's a wrap. So that's a pretty big decision. You love this. So Teddy Bridgewater is now the Panthers quarterback, and he's now tasked with filling the shoes of Cam Newton, but it's a situation he had some experience with in New Orleans, so he said he's ready for the challenge.
I'm aware of the situation that I'm coming into, and, it's a unique situation. For me, all I have to do is continue to be myself. Last year, when Drew got injured, I had big shoes to fill in, and I just constantly reminded myself to just be you. Be the best version of Teddy that I could be. By doing so, it allowed me to be, a better teammate, a better football player, and a better person in the community.
I don't necessarily know what the pulse is in Carolina for Cam's exit. I know as far as what I'm seeing on the internet, people are pretty split on Cam. I'm on the side that I think Cam is still a franchise quarterback, but it felt like this was a unique opportunity for Carolina to move off of Cam without the least amount of friction possible.
Right.
You have a new coach, you have a new owner. Cam's been injured. He can't get evaluated by other teams right now, so you're not going to be able to trade him. So they've moved on from Cam, and now they have Teddy Bridgewater, who is universally liked. I've never heard anyone say a bad word about
he also,
Teddy Bridgewater.
Joy, he wins games.
Right.
He's not just a nice guy. He wins.
No, of course.
Yeah, he wins games.
So I'm saying him, it's a unique situation in that when you think of, at least for me, when I think of the Panthers, I think of Cam Newton. So it's going to be a new era for the Carolina Panthers, a positive one, I think, but as far as him filling Cam's shoes, he's in a situation where it can pretty much almost only go up because Cam has been so injured and they've had some struggles. So it's not like he's coming into a situation where he's replacing someone who just won a Super Bowl, like he's replacing the guy, John Elway just retired or something. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of a good situation there with the way that things ended. So if the NBA season continues, there's still a lot of questions about if fans will be able to attend the games, and LeBron is strongly against the idea of playing with no one in attendance.
Having a game without fans is just what is sport? What is the worst sport without fans? There's no excitement. There's no crying. There's no joy. There's no back and forth. There's no rhyme or reason that you want to go on a road and just dethrone the home team because of their fans and vice versa. Like, that's what also brings up the competitive side of the players, to know that you're going on the road in a hostile environment. And yes, you're playing against that opponent in front of you, but you really want to kick the fans too.
Everything he's saying is accurate, of course. It's going to be difficult to imagine playing, a Game 7 NBA Finals with no fans in the stands, obviously. But we're also living in unprecedented times.
That's right.
So everything that Mark Cuban just said about the importance of sports in times like these and how therapeutic it can be and how it can, unite people and just, we all want something to cheer for and something to root for. I feel like we have to get past that hurdle. Like, we just have to accept that there are likely not going to be fans in the stands.
Yeah.
And just adjust, just how we're all adjusting to the mentality of like, look, we can't just go to the local bar right now and get a beer. Like, we're just going to have to get it out of the fridge and chill for a month or two or however long this takes.
You don't want to
We all have to adjust our mentality and make the best of it.
Yeah, you don't want to be rigid in times of crisis. You work to find a solution. Sitting on Twitter and saying, we can't lose a single life. Nobody goes outside for a year. Well, there's a cost for that, which is more poverty than any of us have seen in our lives if we shut down the economy. You have to weigh everything. You have to have adult conversations. Don't be rigid. Listen to like Mark Cuban said. Every day I learn something new. That's what this is about. Open up your ears, listen, read, and just kind of day to day things change.
So the way that I look at it is, if this NBA season finishes and we likely play it without fans, we're obviously never going to forget this. Like, this is an unprecedented time.
Right.
We will be talking about this for the rest of our lives, what we're going through right now. But when you look back on the NBA season, the joy and the excitement and the positivity that's going to bring fans to be able to sit down and watch an NBA game during this time where everyone is completely lost and we're, as Mark said, we're all working off imperfect information. The fans not being in the stands will be the last thing that people think of. Of course, it's going to be a challenge for players, but if players keep in mind what it is that they're representing, being out there competing and giving that to fans and giving that to people in their homes who, are looking for hope and inspiration, like, it's a bigger picture thing than just having fans in the stands.
Yep, good stuff, Joy, with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
Travis Frederick's going to be a Hall of Famer. He retired a little early, perhaps not too early, the perfect time after a couple of injuries for the Cowboys. The new center is Joe Looney, funny guy for the Cowboys. Dak about to get a new contract. That's all coming up. 66% of men lose their hair by the age of 35, and once you've noticed it's thinning, it's probably a little too late. It's 2020. Medicine and science now can absolutely help. ForHims.com is a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, and sexual wellness for men. It's time to write a new chapter, one in which you have hair. These are not snake oil pills. You go online. They've got a great website. You find out from a physician 5 or 6 questions. You don't have to have an awkward in-person doctor visit. You go online, a licensed physician, she or he. You answer questions, and they will, if appropriate, sign up for a prescription. You get a prescription. So, right now, forhims.com/Colin. Forhims.com/Colin. Shipped directly to your door. Some conversations, us guys, we need a little more discreet packaging. It's the Herd.